Welcome back, Loot Troop. This is the Charred Almond, back for another gameplay video. Today, I'll be going over my recent film, The Eclectic Essay, and answering your question: how do you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? Today's game is going to be Flee the Facility, where I type rapidly on computers in hopes of escaping an approaching monster, similar to how the Eclectic Essay's main character rapidly types his essay to escape the consequences of missing his deadline. So without further ado, we need to begin. One thing I think it is important to address early is how, in our complete film, we played 17 different quotes from 17 unique movies. To obtain the permission needed to use these quotes, we individually contacted each film's production company and requested the rights. Then, with permission, we gathered the quotes by using the phone's screen recording feature, and we got the posters by searching on the Google search engine. With all of this compiled, we moved the materials into our editing software, CapCut. As the editor, I tried my best to edit the film in CapCut with the basic free version, but with the increasing file size and the required complex transitions, I spoke with my team and we decided that we needed to do a quick trial of the premium software, and we ended up editing it all using this. Next, the distribution. To distribute the film, I posted the final cut and all other videoed film progress on YouTube. I also posted the final cut on the site edublogs.org, where my entire production journey was documented. I'll touch more on that site later, but for now, let's focus on YouTube. YouTube was relatively easy to use. There's no payment required, and it can be accessed on any device. The only difficulties my team had with it was firstly some struggle with publishing the videos, and second was making sure we published the correct version of the video, and not some intermediate, incomplete product. Both of these issues were easily fixed, however, with the publishing issues being fixed with a secure Wi-Fi connection, and the product being fixed with further clarification and group communication. Now, as mentioned previously, we also used YouTube for film quotes, but our usage of YouTube for audio didn't stop there. We also used it to find the free use music, which we played as I mentioned previously, we also used YouTube for film quotes, but our usage of YouTube for audio didn't stop there. We also used it to find the free use music, which plays, as well as the ominous swell found at the start of the film. YouTube truly was one of the most useful technologies on our project, and it came with the fewest issues. Next, I want to talk about a software which was a little bit more complicated to actually use, EduBlogs. I mentioned that this is where I documented the entire production process, but there were points where it was a struggle to use the software. For example, when formatting a blog, there are arrows you can use to move images or bodies of text up and down on the page, but it is not consistent in the new block placement. Sometimes the text would turn vertical, but others it would remain completely fine. The site also had a limit on how frequently blogs could be published, limiting them so they could not be spammed. While it is understandable that spam should not be allowed, this was a major inconvenience for when I just wanted to publish some blogs quickly so I could see how they appear on the actual site. Overall, there were many difficulties with EduBlogs, but it was still a free site which allowed the creation of a blog with many posts, so it was still a valuable resource. The next topic I need to cover is how we created our logos. See, we had very specific ideas which we wanted to have as our logos, but nobody in the group had the actual artistry skills to individually create the logos physically. Luckily, we ended up being able to use the site hailui.video to create them. To make sure the product was exactly what we had envisioned, we gave it very detailed prompts. Create a film logo for the company JC Squared Productions. Make this logo a square centered on the screen, and make the name JC Squared Productions bounce up and down in and out of the square, eventually slowing and landing inside. Position JC Squared above the production phrasing, and make the box and text white, with a black background, was the prompt we used for our corporate logo. And when prompting our genre-based logo, we used the prompt, create a film production company logo of a jack-in-the-box popping out. The box should look like a children's toy and have a visible wind, and the gesture which pops out should swing around for some time after. Under the toy, put the name Peak Entertainment. The site, however, kept on messing up the logos, and did not make them how we wanted, so we had to reprompt it, asking it to fix its spelling or change the side which our jack-in-the-box's crank was actually on. By the end, we had revised our prompts a ton, but the products for each logo was exactly as we had planned from the start. Finally, there's the sharing of all of our films among the group itself. This process was relatively simple, and we ended up using two different channels. The main one was just a phone group chat which we had set up at the start of the project. This was how we transferred the content which we actually used in our film, and it worked well because we used iPhones to both film and edit the entire thing. The other channel we used was Google Drive, and this was mainly to transfer the trailers and posters from the phone to the computer. Overall, we used a variety of techniques to enhance our film, and although there were some difficulties, the payout was much greater than the small frustrations we actually dealt with. I have no idea how we would have completed this film without these helpful and free technologies and sites, especially CapCut. Well, that's all for today's video. I'll catch you guys on the next one where I'll play Football Legends while debating who would win, one man or 100 gorillas. See ya.